Heroes die every day, but some deaths don't end stories, they rewrite them. Peter Parker is gone. The Spider-Man of Earth 616 dead by his own choice. And Power Girl? She didn't scream. She didn't rage. She simply stopped flying. This is not a story about Spider-Man. This is a story about what happens to a god when the human she loved is taken away. 1. A world without the spider. New York changes. Not overnight. Not loudly. But permanently. Crime doesn't rise. It collapses. Muggings stop mid-attempt. Gang wars dissolve before the first shot. Organized crime retreats underground like prey sensing a new apex predator. Not because Spider-Man is watching. Because she is. Power Girl still patrols the city. But not the way she used to. There are no quips echoing through alleyways. No dramatic landings. No bright symbols cutting through the night sky. She moves like a shadow that casts no reflection. Criminals don't see her coming. They only feel the pressure. The sudden weight of gravity pinning them to concrete, the air crushed from their lungs, the unmistakable certainty that resistance will not be forgiven. She doesn't brutalize. She ends. Fast, efficient, absolute. Police reports begin to change their language. Suspect subdued becomes suspect incapacitated before officers arrived. Unknown enhanced individual becomes do not pursue. They don't call her a hero anymore. They call her a warning. She no longer jokes with other heroes. The laughter died with him. Avengers meetings continue without her. Her chair stays empty. Sometimes Stark leaves it there out of habit. Sometimes out of guilt. She doesn't answer comms. Not because she's unreachable, but because she doesn't want to hear voices that remind her she failed. She doesn't live in a tower. Glass and steel feel wrong now. Too high. Too clean. Too empty. She lives in Peter's old apartment. A place that still smells faintly of burnt coffee and laundry detergent. A place where the floor creaks exactly the way it used to when he paced, thinking too fast, worrying too much. The walls are thin. The neighbors are loud. The ceiling leaks when it rains. And she wouldn't change a thing. The suit hangs untouched. Red and blue fabric frozen in time. Suspended like a relic in a museum no one visits. The mask is sealed in glass. Not as a trophy. As a promise. She never opens it. She's afraid that if she does, the illusion will break. That the world will finally accept what her heart refuses to. That Peter Parker is gone. Every night, she sits on the edge of his bed. The mattress dips where he used to lie. She listens to police scanners. Not for crime. Not for danger. But for his voice. Even though she knows it will never come. Sometimes she swears she hears it. A familiar cadence. A rushed warning. A bad joke cutting through static. Her breath catches every time. And every time the silence returns. Immortality has never felt heavier. She survived collapsing stars. Outlived civilizations. Watched timelines fracture and heal. But nothing compares to outliving someone who made her feel human. She can't age with him. Can't grow old beside him. Can't even grieve properly. Because grief assumes an ending. And for beings like her, endings are a foreign concept. New York sleeps safer now. Children walk home without fear. Criminal empires crumble without explanation. The city survives. But something essential is missing. The laughter. The hope. The sense that heroes fight not because they must, but because they care. High above the city, Power Girl watches. Not as a protector. Not as a savior. But as a promise carved into the sky. No one else will be taken. Because if the universe insists on teaching her what loss feels like, then it will learn what it costs. 2. The child that should not exist. Months later, the impossible happens. Power Girl begins to feel weak. Not injured. Not poisoned. Not cursed. Weak in a way she has never known. Her strength flickers at random. A glass tumbler shatters in her hand one moment, then the next she struggles to lift a car. Her vision blurs. Her heartbeat stutters, unfamiliar and frightening. For the first time since arriving on this earth, Kara feels something dangerously close to fear. She tells no one at first. Gods are not supposed to feel fragile. The search for a cause. When she can no longer hide it, the world mobilizes. The best doctors on Earth examine her. X-rays, scans, blood samples taken with technology built to pierce stars. Everything comes back perfect. Her cells are stable. Her organs pristine. No disease. No damage. No degeneration. Reed Richards runs simulations until his screens burn white. Bruce Banner studies her energy signatures for weeks. Doctor Strange opens the Eye of Agamotto and sees nothing. No curse. No prophecy. No corruption of time. Magic is silent. Science is blind. And that terrifies them more than any diagnosis. The weight she doesn't understand. Power Girl feels it before anyone explains it. A pressure deep in her chest. A pull low in her abdomen. A quiet, rhythmic presence that isn't pain, but isn't hers alone. She stops patrolling at night. She starts waking from sleep with her hands pressed protectively over herself, heart racing, breath shallow. Memories of Peter flood back without warning. His laugh, his stupid jokes, the way he looked at her like she wasn't a god at all. Just a woman. Immortality has never felt so fragile. The cosmic interruption. The truth doesn't come from Earth. It comes when the sky opens. Not a tear. Not a portal. A folding. Reality bends inward like a breath being held too long, and something steps through that does not walk, does not float, does not obey distance. A cosmic being older than stars. A witness to collapsing universes. A judge of impossible things. Power Girl cannot move. Not because she is restrained, but because her body recognizes it. You are weakening, the being says, voice echoing across dimensions. Because you are no longer alone. Kara demands answers. The being gives her the truth. The child that shouldn't be. Peter Parker left something behind. Not a memory. Not a legacy. Not a symbol. A child. Not fully human. Not fully Kryptonian. A paradox formed from love that was never meant to cross these boundaries. Human adaptability woven into Kryptonian perfection. Chaos bound to order. Mortality fused with eternity. A life that defies the rules of biology, destiny, and the multiverse itself. This child, the being explains, exists outside probability. Reality did not plan it. Time did not authorize it. The multiverse did not consent. And because of that, it is wrong. The multiverse reacts. Across existence, alarms begin to ring. Not sirens. Not warnings. Corrections. Timelines destabilize. Future visions fracture. Entire realities subtly shift away from a point that hasn't even been born yet. Cosmic entities feel it like an infection. Abstract forces sense it like an error in the code of existence. Something that should never have been conceived is growing. And the universe does not forgive mistakes. Everything wants it erased. A mother before a god. Power Girl doesn't hear the rest. Her hands are shaking. 1,000 battles. 1,000 worlds saved. 1,000 lives lost around her, and this is what breaks her. She understands now why she is weakening. Her power is being shared. Divided. Given. Her body, her godhood, is changing to protect something fragile, something precious, something hers. Peter's final act wasn't sacrifice. It was creation. The choice no one can make for her. The cosmic being offers solutions. Quiet ones. Clean ones. Necessary ones. Erase the anomaly before it anchors itself into reality. Reset the timeline. Preserve the multiverse. Power Girl looks down. She feels it then, faint but real. A heartbeat that isn't hers. No, she says. The word carries more force than any punch she has ever thrown. The being pauses. You would doom countless realities for one child? Kara's voice breaks, but it does not waver. I would damn every universe that tries to take him. What comes next? From that moment on, the rules change. Power Girl disappears from the skies. The Justice League loses one of its strongest members. Cosmic Watchers lose their certainty. Reality loses its obedience. Because somewhere in the quiet of Peter Parker's old apartment, a god stands watch over a life that should not exist. And for the first time in the history of the multiverse, the universe is afraid. Not of the child, but of the mother who will burn everything down to protect it. 3. Mother of the impossible. Power Girl disappears. No farewell. No warning to the League. No note left on a table. One day the sky simply forgets her. Satellites track nothing. Magic sees only static. Time itself refuses to answer questions about where Kara Zor-El went. Batman searches for 6 weeks. Doctor Strange opens doors that lead nowhere. Superman hears echoes of her heartbeat in the Phantom Zone, but never the beat itself. Because Power Girl isn't hiding. She's running. She runs across dimensions where Spider-Man never existed. Across universes where Peter Parker died screaming, laughing, old, young, or never born at all. She runs past worlds reduced to ash. Past timelines knotted so badly they bleed causality. Every jump tears something inside her. Not her body. Her resolve. Immortality means nothing when grief moves faster than light. And grief is chasing her. The child cannot be born in a stable universe. Kara knows this. A normal timeline would tear the baby apart. A hybrid soul with destiny tangled in too many cosmic threads. So she finds a collapsed timeline. A universe that already died. No stars. No watchers. No judgment. Just a quiet, broken strand of reality slowly unraveling into nothing. That is where she stops running. She gives birth alone. No son. No nurses. No gods. Only pain, real pain, for the first time in centuries. Her strength shakes the void. Her scream echoes through dead time. And when the child finally cries, reality answers. The universe stabilizes around the sound. Fractured causality locks into place. Time, which had been leaking away, snaps back into order. Not because the universe wants to survive, but because the child demands it. His cry is not loud. It is absolute. The child carries many things. Spider sense, amplified beyond instinct. Not a warning of danger, but an awareness of possibility. He feels futures before they happen. Knows when something shouldn't exist. Kryptonian strength, restrained, not by weakness, but by empathy. He can shatter worlds but feels every crack as if it were bone. Peter's heart. The unbearable need to help. The guilt of surviving. The instinct to save even when it costs everything. Kara's power. Raw, solar, infinite. Wrapped in a mother's fear of what that power could become. This child is not a weapon. That terrifies the universe more than if he were. Kara holds him against her chest. For the first time since Peter died, she allows herself to breathe. The void does not feel empty anymore. She names him Ben. Not for Uncle Ben, but for both of them. Because Ben means to be, to exist, to matter. Ben grows faster than normal children, but not unnaturally so. He learns to smile before he learns to float. Learns kindness before strength. He laughs when Kara worries. Calms the storms in her heart before she realizes they're there. When nightmares come, visions of collapsing futures, burning skies, broken masks, Ben reaches out. And the nightmares stop. The multiverse begins to notice. Wadu turns his head. The living tribunal pauses mid-judgment. Darkseid feels something looking back. Not challenging them. Observing. Ben does not dream of conquest. He dreams of fixing things. Of holding broken worlds together with hands too small to carry their weight. And one day, far sooner than Kara hoped, he asks a question that shakes her more than any enemy ever has. Mom? Why is everyone always afraid of what I might become? She has no answer. Because the truth is too heavy. The universe isn't afraid of Ben's power. It's afraid that when the moment comes, he'll choose to save everyone. For, the heroes turn against her. They do not come with sirens. They do not come with warnings. They come the way heroes always do when they believe they are right. Quietly, decisively, already prepared to be feared. The sky over New York fractures first. A ring of golden light folds inward, and Doctor Strange steps through, his cloak stiff, unmoving. Then thunder without rain, Thor's arrival shaking the clouds. A shadow on a rooftop resolves into Batman, already watching, already calculating. And above them all, hovering like judgment itself, the Justice League. They are not here for Power Girl. They are here for the child. The boy sleeps inside the apartment, Peter's old apartment. The same peeling paint. The same cracked window that never quite closed. The same room where laughter once lived. Power Girl feels them before she sees them. Her heart does not race. It sinks. Because she understands something they do not. Heroes only come together like this when the universe is afraid. The verdict. Doctor Strange does not waste time. He never does. The child is a nexus being, he says, voice echoing with truths he wishes were untrue. Every future where he survives fractures outward. Timelines collapse. Realities burn. He opens the eye, not to threaten her but to prove his words. She sees it. Worlds drowned in darkness. Civilizations erased before they ever learn language. Stars folding in on themselves like dying lungs. Batman's voice follows, colder than space. My projections align with his, he says. There is no version of this scenario where the child reaches adulthood without catastrophic loss. Thor grips Mjolnir tighter. His eyes are not angry. They are grieving. I have buried sons of gods before, he says softly. If sacrifice must be made to save the realms, I will not flinch. The Justice League says nothing. They don't need to. Their silence is unanimous. The line in the sand. Power Girl floats down to the street. Slowly. Deliberately. She does not posture. She does not threaten. She simply places herself between them and the building. My son, she says, her voice steady, is not a calculation. Strange closes his eyes. You know I would not say this if there were another way. Batman activates a device on his wrist. Contingencies upon contingencies, plans to stop gods, demons, and hope itself. Superman meets her gaze. This is the hardest part. Because he understands. Because he feels it too. Kara, he says quietly, if it were my child. She cuts him off. If it were your child, she says, you'd already be dead trying to protect him. Silence crashes harder than any blow. The moment everything breaks, Thor raises his hammer. Not in anger. In duty. Doctor Strange's hands begin to move. Reality bends. And Power Girl does something she has never done before. She stops caring what happens next. She thinks of Peter's laugh. Of the way he used to say, we'll figure it out, even when he was terrified. Of the weight of a newborn in her arms. Fragile, warm, real. Immortality has taught her many things. How to endure pain. How to outlive grief. How to lose everything and keep breathing. But motherhood teaches her something new. There are things worse than the end of the universe. She draws a breath. And lets go of being a hero. The choice. Her eyes burn, not with heat vision but resolve. You want him, she says. Then you go through me. Batman's systems fail first. Thor's hammer stops midair. Doctor Strange's spell unravels, not shattered but refused. Because Power Girl is no longer fighting to win. She is fighting to protect. And there is no force in any universe more dangerous than a god who has chosen love over destiny. Superman feels it. The others do too. This is not rage. This is something older. Something final. A mother before a legend. I was created to be strong, she says. I was taught to save worlds. She turns slightly, just enough to glance back at the window where her son sleeps. But I wasn't born to surrender my child to your fear. Her voice cracks for the first time. If the universe cannot survive a child who is loved, she whispers, then maybe the universe doesn't deserve to survive. No one moves. Because for the first time, the heroes realize they are standing on the wrong side of history. Not because she is stronger, but because she is right. And because some lines once crossed can never be uncrossed. Tonight, Power Girl does not choose the multiverse. She chooses her son. And the world will never be the same again. 5. When gods bleed, they fight. Not out of hatred, but fear. Because when gods feel fear, they do not pray. They strike first. And Power Girl stands at the center of it. Not as a villain. Not as a savior. But as a problem no pantheon knows how to solve. The line she crossed. It starts with a tremor. Not an earthquake. A moral one. Power Girl moves faster than permission. Faster than counsels. Faster than prophecy. She does not ask for approval. She acts. And the world notices. Thor is the first to confront her, not in anger but obligation. A god defending a system that has worked just well enough to keep reality stitched together. Stand down, he says. She doesn't. Mjolnir comes down like judgment. And for the first time since the hammer was forged, it doesn't rise again. Power Girl's hand closes around it mid-swing. There is a sound, not thunder, not metal, but something older. Something breaking its own myth. The hammer fractures. Not shattered in rage, but crushed in refusal. Thor stares at what's left in his hand. Gods are not supposed to see the end of their symbols. Magic fails. She does not. They escalate. They always do. Runes wrap around her like chains of prayer. Sorcerers tear open books no one should read aloud. Time itself bends, trying to move her somewhere safer. Somewhere else. Power Girl tears through the bindings like they are wet paper. Not because she is stronger than magic, but because magic was never written for someone who refuses to obey the story. Time barriers shatter. Past and future bleed into the present. Battles echo twice. Screams arrive before they are made. And still, she refuses to kill. Every blow is measured. Every strike pulls short. Because Peter Parker once said, if we start deciding who deserves to die, we stop being heroes. She remembers that. Even now. Especially now. The cost of mercy. That restraint is not weakness. But it is expensive. A blade meant for her misses by inches. And strikes something smaller. A child. Not chosen. Not important. Just there. Wrong place. Wrong moment. The scream is not loud. But it cuts deeper than any weapon. Power Girl freezes. Just for a heartbeat. Gods do not freeze. That heartbeat is all reality needs. When reality fractures, the world doesn't explode. It splits. Like glass under pressure. Sky and ground misalign. Horizons bend inward. Causality loses its grip. This is what happens when power outpaces control. When mercy hesitates. When gods bleed, not from wounds but from consequences. Power Girl drops to her knees beside the child. Alive. Barely. Her hands shake. Not from fear. From choice. She could end this. One strike. One decision. No more gods standing in her way. No more threats. No more children caught between ideals. She looks up. Every god watching. Waiting to see if she will finally become what they fear. Why she doesn't? She sees Peter's apartment. The cracked ceiling. The quiet mornings. The mask sealed behind glass. The man who believed power was a burden. Not a crown. She stands. Blood on her hands. Not from killing. From holding back. I won't do this your way, she says. And I won't become your excuse. They back away. Not defeated, but afraid. Because gods can fight monsters. What they cannot fight is someone who refuses to become one. Aftermath. The battle ends without victory. The sky heals slowly. Time knits itself back together, badly. The child survives. The gods retreat. And Power Girl walks away alone. Not triumphant. Not forgiven. Just unchanged. Which, in a universe built on escalation, is the most dangerous thing of all. Because somewhere, the gods are asking a question they never had to ask before. What happens when absolute power chooses restraint, and still breaks the world? 6. The Return of the Spider. The scream echoes across the multiverse. A sound that shakes worlds, rends skies, and vibrates through the very fabric of reality. It carries grief, fear, and defiance all at once. It is the scream of someone lost, someone betrayed by circumstance, someone whose absence has left a void no hero could fill. And something answers. Peter Parker returns. Not alive. Not dead. Not bound by the fragile flesh that once carried him. This is something different. Something eternal. A consciousness anchored to responsibility itself, forged in the countless decisions, sacrifices, and failures of a life spent trying to save everyone and everything. He appears, older, calm, radiant. There is no mask, no suit, no emblem of the past. Not Spider-Man, something more. Something beyond titles. His eyes reflect the weight of 1,000 worlds, but his expression is serene. The chaos of multiversal collapse halts wherever he walks. Time seems to bend around him, giving space for his presence to resonate. Cosmic entities, arbiters of power, watchers of universes, retreat. They sense the gravity of what they see. A mortal man, shaped by choice and loss, standing against the infinite with nothing but the essence of his will. He speaks one sentence and the multiverse itself trembles. This is my responsibility. In those 3 words lies every struggle, every failure, every victory Peter ever knew. The child at the heart of the multiversal fracture, the one they had feared, the one they had labeled a mistake, is revealed in the light of his voice. Not a threat. Not an accident. A correction. A beacon. Worlds that had teetered on the brink of collapse sigh in relief. Timelines realign. Choices that were lost are restored, not as if by magic, but by the immutable law of duty. And Peter? He does not vanish. He does not fade. He lingers, a guardian of the in-between, a sentinel for all those who cannot protect themselves. Those who watched, who feared, who judged, now see the truth. Responsibility is not punishment. It is power. It is love. It is the anchor that holds chaos at bay. And Peter Parker, in this new form, has become the embodiment of it. The scream fades. The multiverse breathes. And somewhere, in the quiet spaces between worlds, a child sleeps safely, unaware of the cosmic forces that bend to the will of a single man who never forgot what it means to care. Peter Parker does not smile. He does not boast. But the light in his eyes tells the story of a hero reborn. Not Spider-Man but something greater. Something eternal. Something that will endure long after the multiverse itself forgets his name. Because in the end, responsibility is infinite, and so is he. Years later, Ben grows up. Not a god. Not a monster. A hero. Power Girl watches from the shadows. She doesn't wear a cape anymore. She wears a smile. Because once, she loved a man who taught her that true power isn't strength. It's sacrifice. And in every universe, the spider still watches.